Hey guys, and welcome to Coach Dave's Kitchen. Today's adventure is going to be a new one for me. I am trying an entirely new dish. Today's plan is eggplant lasagna, and I'm going to go for basically as clean a possible eggplant lasagna as I could imagine. So I've got some ground turkey here, got some eggplant, some fat-free mozzarella cheese, some no sugar added marinara sauce. I was actually going to make it from scratch, but since I'm doing this on a weeknight, I opted to cheese out a little bit, so I got some canned stuff here. A little bit of a departure from the totally clean. I've got some low-fat ricotta cheese here, some mushrooms, a little bit of olive oil. So let's get started. First off, anytime you're cooking, rule number one, clean, clean, clean. So wash my hands good. And after I get my hands good and clean, I'm going to go ahead and wash these eggplant as well. I cleaned them once already, but you can't be too careful with what may have been sprayed on these guys. I'll rinse them off good. Over here, getting dried, drained. And we'll get started. When you're picking eggplant, you want to get nice, heavy, firm eggplant with a good, smooth, shiny surface. No bruises, no cuts, no real bad spots in them. You'll be able to tell, just like choosing most any vegetable. A little bit out of season here, so I had a real tough time getting some real good ones, but I think these should do. So first thing we're going to do, I'm going to take just a nice flat baking sheet. I've preheated my oven to 350 degrees. We're going to take some olive oil, and I'm going to slice up these two eggplants into about 3/4 inch, half inch to 3/4 inch thick slices lengthwise. You get some nice big, some nice big pieces, kind of like your standard lasagna, only significantly thicker. The eggplant is going to absorb a lot of the flavors from the spices and the marinara sauce, etc. So it can afford to be thicker. If you cut it real thin, like a lasagna noodle, it's just going to just mush up and disintegrate, and it's not going to be very tasty. So like I said, I'm going to cut these up lengthwise into approximately half inch to 3/4 inch thick slices. Try to keep them good and even. You don't want to get them all odd and strange, or they won't work out for you. I'm going to skip basically the heel ends. That's these pieces here with the skin on. I'll save those for later if I need them. But if I can get away without them, I'm going to leave them out, and that's simply for aesthetics. I prefer to not have a lot of the skin in the dish, so I'm going to leave them out if I can. If you need them, or if you prefer to leave them in, by all means do it. This is just personal preference on my part. Tip of the day: don't slice your fingers. Nobody wants finger lasagna, especially not me. They're my fingers, I'm attached to them. All right, so we've got our eggplant slices here. Now, I'm going to take a little bit of the olive oil, just coat my baking pan a little bit here. Some people use a brush for this. I'm a fan of just digging in and getting my hands dirty. And then you want to take your eggplant slices and just kind of push them around in the olive oil a little bit to coat both sides. You're going to arrange them on your baking sheet. Probably going to need a little more olive oil. I'm going to get a nice even thin coat on both sides of all the eggplant slices. Make sure you've got some still remaining on the pan so that the slices don't stick. I like olive oil for this because, as many of us are trying to eat as clean as we can, olive oil is a very, very clean fat. If you prefer something else, I won't hold that against you. Just personal preference. I like olive oil. I like the taste of it, and it is, like I said, very healthy. So once we get all of these eggplant slices with a nice coat of olive oil and arranged on our baking sheet, we're going to bake them in a 350-degree oven for about 30 minutes or so, just until they get kind of firmed up and tightened. You'll be able to tell. Okay, got the eggplant in the oven. That's got about 10 more minutes. I just took the ground turkey and browned it up in the skillet over here with some garlic and some oregano, a little bit of salt, pepper, lots of garlic because I love garlic. But now I've got the mushrooms washed, and we need to get those sliced up. Go ahead and slice these up to have them ready to go when I start to build the lasagna. Try to get them get good even slices. That's a good rule of thumb. Anytime you're slicing anything up, you want to try to keep the slices good and even, just because it makes it much easier to ensure everything cooks evenly, and you don't have some raw pieces and some that are overdone. I like mine a little bit thick. I love mushrooms, and so I like them a little thicker so they stay a little on the meaty side. Some people like to slice them pretty thin, or just leave them out altogether. And that's totally up to you. I'm just kind of winging this recipe. So it's entirely up to you how you want to do it. It's your food. And I actually think, looking at this, that I've got a little bit too many mushrooms that I kept out here, so I'll probably end up throwing a few of these back in the refrigerator. And that's entirely okay. So like I said, I love mushrooms, and I will use them again for something else. I think that's probably pretty good for the mushrooms. A few of those left over. Next, I'm going to mix up the ricotta cheese mixture that's going to go kind of in between the layers. A lot of people, when they make just a standard lasagna, you'll see use cottage cheese instead. I don't particularly like that, so I will stick with the ricotta. I've got this reduced fat ricotta cheese. This is actually a 2-pound container, and I don't need nearly that much. We're going to use about a pound, so about half of this container. Just go ahead and put that in a mixing bowl here. I like to doctor the cheese mixture up a little bit. That's, again, just a personal preference. Some people like it just plain the way it is. That's fine as well. Again, totally a personal preference, up to you. But I will take the cheese mixture, Got my 2 eggs here. A little piece of shell there. Eggshell is perfect for getting eggshell out. Again, anytime you're cooking, wash your hands, wash your hands, wash your hands. Especially if you come into contact with raw egg, poultry, chicken, turkey, raw fish. Definitely want to make sure you wash your hands and keep the utensils separated as well. I will not be reusing this spatula for anything else now that I'm using it on eggs. Again, I'm going to throw a little fresh ground black pepper in here, a little bit of coarse sea salt. Mix that up well, and we have that part ready for our lasagna. So now basically it's just a matter of waiting until the eggplant is finished, and we'll get our pan out and put our lasagna together and be ready to bake it. Okay, the eggplant's ready to come out of the oven. You can see here that it's just kind of a nice brown, not really terribly brown, just slightly brown, kind of a golden brown. So we're ready to put our lasagna together. I've got my specific deep dish 9x13 lasagna pan. You can use really any good solid 9x13 baking dish that you have. I have that one specifically for making lasagna because I'm kind of a lasagna fiend. So I have this specific pan for it. But really, any good 9x13 baking pan will do. What you want to do is put a good half a cup or so of your marinara sauce in the bottom of the pan. Then you're going to take with some tongs now, because your eggplant is going to still be hot from the oven. You're going to take your eggplant and just arrange it in the bottom of the pan on top of the tomato sauce. Okay, you may need to spread some of that sauce out a little bit. Get a good covering on the bottom of the pan. And then just basically, like you were making a normal lasagna, layer one layer of your eggplant right on the bottom of the pan on top of that tomato sauce. So your eggplant is basically taking the place of your lasagna noodles. Once you've got one good layer of eggplant in there, then you go ahead and put your filling on. This is where that ricotta cheese mixture that I was talking about. Just kind of spread that out on top of your lasagna, top of your eggplant. Try to smooth it out so you get a nice even layer of that. You don't want big thick globs of it in one end and none at the other.
And then on top of the ricotta layer, I've got some ground turkey that I browned up here with some garlic and some oregano. We're going to go ahead and put that in right on top of the ricotta. And again, just kind of spread that out so you get a nice even layer. Press it down a little bit so it kind of sinks into that ricotta cheese and doesn't run all over the place on you. We're going to top that with the rest of the eggplant. Make another layer. So like I said, you're basically substituting your lasagna noodles in a traditional lasagna with these slices of baked eggplant. You may have to get a little bit creative in arranging your eggplant. I find sometimes I have to slice it in half and fill in some of the gaps that way. Whatever you need to do. So that's got our two eggplant layers. Now I'm going to go ahead and put the rest of the sauce on top of that. Go ahead and spread that out good. I'll top that with my mushrooms. And then I've got some shredded, non-fat mozzarella cheese. Get a nice even layer of that. Now a couple of my concessions to totally clean here. One, I'm a little bit of a cheese fiend, so I've actually got 2 packages of cheese. These are 7-ounce packages. So I've actually got almost a pound of mozzarella cheese that's going on the top here. And the other is that in addition to the mozzarella that I'm putting on here, you can't make a good lasagna without Parmesan cheese. And I have yet to discover a good non-fat Parmesan cheese. So I've got real Parmigiano Reggiano cheese here. I'm going to grate some of this on the top there. And then we'll pop this into a 350 degree oven for about 30 to 40 minutes, possibly an hour. Just kind of watch until your cheese starts to get nice and brown and bubbly on the top, and you'll know that it's done.